Hey there, so let's cover number 25. Use the slope-intercept form of an equation of a line. So what you need to know in order to do this, I don't even think you need this part, but I do want to show you how to do this. If you have a fraction that you're adding, all that matters is that the denominators, the bottom numbers, are the same. If they're the same, you can just add the exponent, add the numerators. So if you have the same denominators, you can go x plus 1 over 4. Okay. For the next one, this you do need to know how to do for this one, as well as the next lecture. And this is you're going to solve for y with 2x minus 3y is equal to 12. So to solve for y, we've got 2x attached, and it's positive, and then we have negative 3 attached by multiplication. Well, we're going to have to get rid of this 2x first before we can detach that negative 3. And to do that, we just need to subtract 2x from both sides of the equal sign. When you do this, you can't subtract 2x from 12. They are not like terms. The 12 doesn't have an x, so they must stay separate. So that means we have negative 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. Now the next thing we need to do is get rid of the negative 3, move it. And we need to know how it's attached. It's attached by multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we have to divide both sides by negative 3. Hold up. Now the most important thing here that I'm going to tell you is do not just draw one big old line and put divided by negative 3. The better thing to do here is create individual lines and divide by negative 3 in this capacity. All right, I'm going to do one more thing here, and that's to take care of my sign issue that I have. I don't want a negative over a negative. I know a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so my y is equal to positive 2/3 x, and then a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 12 divided by 3 is 4. All right, and that is my equation of the line solved for y. So let's talk about slope-intercept form of an equation of a line. The slope-intercept form of an equation is where the slope is m, this is the slope, and the y-intercept, where it's touching the y, where it's crossing the y-intercept, the line is your b, and this is your y-intercept. Now every point on that line is an ordered pair. So the ordered pair for your y-intercept is where x is 0, which we've discussed before in our intercepts, and your b is your y-intercept. To find the slope and y-intercept of the line given. All right, that's the first thing we're going to do. The y-intercept's the easy one. It's where it's crossing. So if we have this is 0, this is 5, that means each one of these little lines is equal to 1. So this one's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the y-intercept is at 1. We need to find the slope. I like to use the y-intercept and find the next closest point that crosses a line. Well, this one crosses a line, this one crosses a line, but the closest one is this one. If you go with the closest one, you won't have to worry about reducing it with the fraction. All right, now remember, to find your slope, you have to start from your one point. You're going to rise to your next point. That could be up or down. If it's up, it's positive. If it's down, it's negative. So we're going to rise going up, 1, 2. So my numerator is 2, my rise is 2. And then I'm going to run 1, because you always want to run to the right. So my slope is 2. Now I can write the equation of the line using y equals mx plus b. I'm going to write y equals, I'm going to leave a space for my m and my b. My m is 2, so 2x, plus my y-intercept is 1. There's my equation of the line. All right, let's go to the next one. Use the graph to find the slope and y-intercept of the line. Write the equation of the line. I would like for you to pause the video now, attempt this one yourself, and then come back to see how you do. All right, pause the video. Okay, so let's continue. We're going to look for the slope, and we're going to look for the y-intercept, which is our b. That's the easiest. Our y-intercept is down here at -1, And to find my slope, I need to find the next point it crosses. It looks like right here, it crosses at where x is 3. So from my y-intercept to this point, what is my rise? What is my run? Well, I'm going up, so my rise is positive, and I have to go up 2 places. So my rise is 2, and then from here, I'm going to run 1, 2, 3. So my slope is positive 2/3. Finally, writing your equation of the line in this format, your slope is 2/3, and your y-intercept is -1. There's your equation for the line. All right, I'd like for you to pause the video again, whether you got this one right or not. If you have questions about this, please make sure you're writing them down so we can have a conversation about it. But if you have no questions, please, even if you did, please attempt this next one on your own and then come back to see how you did. Use the graph to find the slope, y-intercept, and then write the equation. So the y-intercept's the easiest, and that is our b, and that is at positive 3. And then my next point, looks like right here, is where x is 2. So my slope, remember, is rise over run. We're going to rise up 1, and then we're going to run 2, and it is positive. So our line is I'll get there, mx plus b. There is my equation for the line. All right. Oh, I should have chosen a different pen. Oh well, let's see if we can do this. Sorry guys. Identify the slope and y-intercept of the line. That's all we're doing here. We're not writing any equations. So the slope, now we've discussed this, if y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b, including the sign, is your y-intercept. All right, so your y-intercept is positive 5, or you can write it as 0, 5, because it is an ordered pair, and your slope is -3. Let's go to the next one. Pause the video, do these next, at least do this next one, and then come back to check yourself if you'd like. But I would like for you to do each of these and then check yourself to make sure you're on target for doing this correctly. Okay, pause the video and I'll see you in a minute. So our slope for this one is the coefficient, the number in front of x, which is 2/5, and the y-intercept is -1, or you can write 0, -1. The next one is the slope is -4/3, and the y-intercept is +1, or again, you can write 0, 1. Now the next one's different. The next one we're going to have to solve for y, so in order to have it in our y equals mx plus b format. The first thing I need to do is move this x over to the other side of the equal sign. And I end up with 2y is equal to -x plus 6. Now I need to solve for y. 2 is attached by to y by multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide both sides. Now, if you remember earlier, I said when you divide, you want to break these up into 2 different pieces. You do not want to put the whole thing over 2. It's going to make finding your slope and y-intercept very difficult. So when you divide it by 2, you're left with y equals, if there is no number in front of x, so we've got a -x, there's always an assumed 1. So this is -1/2 x plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our slope is -1/2, and our y-intercept is 3, or you could write it as 0, 3. Now, I want you to solve for y on the next one, so please pause the video, go do it, and then come back and check yourself. I'm going to do this for both of the next 2. You need to get comfortable with doing this, all right? So we're going to subtract x again from both sides. We've got 4y is -x plus 8. We need to remove the 4. It's currently multiplied to y, so we have to divide both sides by 4. Again, split it up. And y is equal to, remember there's an assumed 1 here, -1/4 x, and then plus 8 divided by 4 is 2. Our slope is the number in front of x, which is negative 1/4, and our y-intercept is 2, or you can write it as 0, 2. Okay, if you have any questions on that, please make a note so we can have a conversation. Pause the video and then do the next one. It's done a little bit differently, so do your best, all right, and then come back and see how you did. Again, we're solving for y. We've got to remove the 3x, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides because it is currently positive. To get rid of it, I need to subtract it. That leaves me with 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 12. Lastly, 2 is attached to y by multiplication, so I need to divide all the pieces by 2, and I'm left with y is equal to negative 3/2. I separate this from the x because the x is not part of your slope. Okay, so I want to make sure that you can see that the x is not a part of that slope. Even though it shows right now with negative 3x, it's going to be negative 3/2 x plus 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my slope is negative 3/2. Notice there's no x in that. There should never be an x. And your y-intercept is 6, or you can write it as 0, 6. All right. Next page. I'm not going to use this pen anymore. Let's go to this one. Now we're going to graph the line using its slope and intercept. Now I gave you this one on purpose because the slope is a little bit more difficult to see if you don't understand that what's in front of that x. The coefficient, which means the number in front of x, is not just a negative. It's negative 1. Remember, if there's not a number, it does not mean 0. It means, if it's got a negative there, that means negative 1x. So this y is equal to negative 1x plus 4. I want to take it a step further, okay? Because when you go to graph this, you want to have your slope as a fraction, not as just one number. So to turn this into a fraction, I'm just going to divide it by 1. If there's not a fraction already there, you can take whatever their number is and divide it by 1, and it's still accurate. Remember that it's y equals mx plus b. You want to start your graph with your y-intercept, your b, and that in this case is positive 4. So we're going to start with graphing our y-intercept, and this 4 is at 0, 4. So 0, 4, I'm going to put my first dot. Now to create my second dot, I have to use my slope. All right, so from this dot, I have to do my rise and my run. Notice my rise is negative. That means we're going to rise down. We're going to go down 1, and then our run is 1. And I've told you, your run, you always run to the right. So our next point is right here. You're going to connect the dots, extend them in both directions with arrows. And then once you're done drawing this, you want to represent it properly. So you want to label it with the name of the line, which is y equals negative x plus 4. That is the proper way to show this, okay? I would like for you, I know that was a lot, I would like for you to pause the video, look at what I did, mimic what I did, since this one is very similar, and so you can mimic it very easily. Please attempt it yourself, get your line drawn, and then come back to see how you did. This is when pencils are a big thing. Use a pencil if you can, just in case it's wrong. I know during class there was a lot of erasing happening, and I want you to have that opportunity to make a mistake and learn from it, okay? Pause the video, attempt this yourself, and then come back to see how you did. All right, so for this next one, we're going to graph the line. Again, remember it's y equals mx plus b, so we want to graph our y-intercept first, and that is at 0, negative 3 for the point. So there's my first point. Now to find the next point, my slope is negative x, negative 1. But remember, I want to make that negative 1 over 1. All right, so from this point, we're going to rise, which means up or down. We're going to rise, but we're going to go down because it's negative 1. And then we're going to run to the right 1. draw your line, create your arrows to show that the line continues in both directions, and then lastly, name it what the original line was. Y equals negative x minus 3. Hopefully you got that one okay. The next one's going to be a little bit different because we don't have that negative x or the negative 1 for our slope. So again, I want you to pause the video, attempt this one for yourself, and then come back to see how you did. Our y-intercept is where we're going to start at -2 or 0, -2. I'm going to place my point. Notice I'm not labeling, I'm just placing a point. Now I'm going to come over here to my slope. We're going to rise. We're not rising, that just tells you we're going up and down. Okay, and it's -3. So that means we're going to go down 3, and then we're going to run. And we always run to the right. And we're going to do that 4 spots. So -3. From this point, not from the origin. Don't get confused. We always start from the point we've already drawn, and then we're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place that point, draw your line to connect those dots, continue the line in both directions with arrows to show they are continuing in both directions, and lastly, write the name of the line to represent your drawing. Y is equal to -3/4 x minus 2. All right, if you have questions, write them over to the side so you can ask me. And otherwise, let's just pause the video and then continue with this next one. Okay, pause the video. I'm going to come back to see how you did. We're going to start with our y-intercept. So that's going to be at 0, -3. Put your dot, and then we're going to do our slope. The negative is always going to go up with the rise. That way you can always run to the right if you do it this way. Okay? So that means that -2 means we're going to go down 2 from that point, and then we're going to go to the right, always 3. So from this point, I'm going to go down 2, and then I'm going to run to the right, 1, 2, 3. Place that second point, draw your line with arrows to show continuity, and then label your line with the original. Y equals -2/3 x minus 3. If you have any questions on any of these, please make sure you make note and let me know so we can discuss it, and so you don't have these issues on the exam. Oh, pardon me. So sorry. Let me take a sip. Okay. Choosing the most convenient method to graph a line. We're not going to do these. It's just choosing the most convenient method to do so. Because we've learned so many different ways to graph, I want to help you understand when you're looking at these different types of equations, which method is going to be best for you to handle each of these. Okay? So if you, anytime you see an x equals, this means it is a vertical line. And that just means that it is an up and down line. It's just up and down, and that is it. There's no slope to it. All right, slope's undefined. A y equals, only a number. This is a horizontal line with a slope of 0. Okay, that is a horizontal line that goes across the y-axis at 4. The next one, I would use intercepts, the intercept method to graph this. It's just easy to let x equals 0 solve for y, let y equals 0 solve for x. And the same thing for the next one. I would use the intercept method, because you can let x equals 0 solve for y and let y equals 0 solve for x. These last two, I would use the one that we just did today, and it's called the slope-intercept method. And the same thing for this last one. So what I want you to do for this next piece is make sure you have these written down, because I'm not going to have enough space to show you everything. I would like for you to go through each of these and figure out which method would be best for you to graph these lines. Okay? So this is your opportunity to check yourself while you still have access to this. I want you to go through, fill this out, and then come back and I will fill it out, and I will discuss it with you as my thought process goes along. All right, so if you could please do that, and then I will see you momentarily. Pause the video and then come back. Okay, for our first one, this is y equals -6. And because it's a y equals, as I told you up here, that is a horizontal line. Because y is only equal to a number. If y is equal to anything more than a number and has an x in it, there should never be an x in it for it to be a horizontal line. I want to explain something real quick on this. If you have y equals -6x, that is not a horizontal line. That's a method to where you're going to use your slope-intercept method for, and your y-intercept is 0 because there's no attached b. All right. So this is not the same thing. This cannot have an x in it if it's a horizontal line. All right. I wanted to make sure you knew that. The next one, I would use the intercept method. It's not solved for y. All right. Intercepts. The next one is a vertical line, up and down, goes through the x-axis. This one is what we did today, which is our slope-intercept. It's already in that form for us, so that's delightful. This one I would use the intercepts again because it's not solved for y. This one has y equals a number, so this is a horizontal line. Goes through where the y is equal to 4. This one is solved for y, so this is the slope-intercept method. Now this one, just like with the y equals, it can't have an x in it for the horizontal line. Please notice it can only have an x. You cannot have a y mixed in here as well. It would not be a vertical line if that were the case. It has to only have an x. This one I would use the slope-intercept. Again, a horizontal line. This one I'm going to use my intercepts. And then lastly, you've got a vertical line. All right, if you have any questions on this lecture, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help, especially before you get a chance to do your homework. I don't want you to struggle through that as much. If you have questions on this, you're definitely going to have questions once you hit that homework. All right, give me a message, text me. We can always meet on Zoom, whatever you need. Good luck. See you in the next video.